So, oh yeah, can you go back one? I don't think I finished the bad water bills. Oh yeah, I was finishing up. Okay, yeah, the McMullen Valley one, I just had been saying that was a New York hedge fund called Water Asset Management that wants that bill. They also were involved with the Harquahala bill a few years ago. It allows for importing water from these, they're called transfer basins, sacrifice zones, and um, these hedge funds and private water companies are very interested in this because they think it's an opportunity to make a lot of money. So, all right, I think that's enough on that. Let's go to the next one. So there are some good water bills as well. Representative Griffin is unlikely to hear most of those in the House, and Senator Shope probably won't in the Senate, but we still like to work on them and talk to people about them. So one I wanted to highlight is a bill we've been working on for several years to try to protect flows in our rivers, the 1386 and 2516, the watershed health bills, and it recognizes ecological water needs as a beneficial use. So, okay, yep, got it, Gary. I'll move right along. And there are some other requirements for water adequacy. The one in the bottom relates to drinking water standards for PFAS, and with the federal government backing off on these standards, it's important for the state to do more. Again, I think that one is unlikely to get heard. There is a PFAS bill that is moving, that, and I can get you the number for that, but it would ban PFAS in firefighting foam. So, and that's Rep. Ligori's bill. Okay, go ahead, next one. We'll move along here. We have some bills we're supporting to promote environmental justice. The first one, 2141, requires that ADEQ develop a definition for overburdened communities, specifically communities that are predominantly people of color and tribal communities, and where people have low incomes, and requires that they develop environmental justice impact statements, and then they can actually deny or place conditions on permits based on these statements and the impacts. So first acknowledging that there are disproportionate impacts, and then allowing the agency to actually mitigate some of those. There are two proposed constitutional amendments for clean air, clean water, a right to clean air, clean water, and both apply to future generations. They're HCR 2006 and SCR 1017. On Environmental Day, Senator Kuby is going to do a news conference on her bill, SCR 1017, and I think someone is also going to talk about HCR 2006. We also are trying to get more transparency, and so Senator Kuby also introduced 1510. Data centers a lot of times sneak in using non-disclosure agreements, and so that bill limits government's ability to hide information in non-disclosure agreements relating to water use, air and water pollution, waste, etc. So pretty good bill. All right, go ahead. Next one. As has been the case many years at the legislature, they're attacking our voting rights. The majority doesn't like early voting, and so they're trying to make it more difficult for people to vote early, having more requirements for IDs. You have to turn it in the Friday, your early ballot the Friday before instead of on election day. And yeah, a number of other provisions. This time they're going to refer some of those to the ballot because the governor's been vetoing those. I think SCR 1001 and HCR 2001 are likely to end up on the ballot. They're mirror bills, and they're moving through the process fairly quickly. And then they also want to limit voting centers. Voting centers are places where people, can go to vote at any time, and also on election day. And they want to go back to only precinct voting, which really limits people's ability to vote. So, all right, moving along, because I want to leave time for questions. There are a number of bills that attack lands and wildlife. A bunch of those are up on Monday. I'll focus in on, 1281 requires that the governor and legislature approve any sale or transfer of private land to the federal government. There are some constitutional issues with that one. There's private property rights being one, and also, the legislature really can't direct the federal government on that kind of thing. There are a number of bills dealing with the state land department, and one is a proposed constitutional amendment, and it would basically give the Arizona legislature more control of state trust land. So they're trying to move control away from state land department to the legislature. Not that we think the land department is perfect, but would not want to see the legislature, what they would do with state land. So there are a couple of bills to limit the state engaging in the Endangered Species Act. And whoever is talking, you're not on mute, sorry. And then they want livestock interests on the Game and Fish Commission. Okay, go ahead. How are we doing for time? Okay. And this slide, I know, well, most of these are very busy, but there are so many bills going after Mexican gray wolves that, they barely fit on one slide. But they either limit Game and Fish spending any money or doing anything to collaborate, or they prohibit the state from administering, enforcing, or cooperating on the gray wolf, prohibiting the transport of Mexican gray wolf puppies, giving landowner permits to kill wolves, which is contrary to the Endangered Species Act. So yeah, a lot of bad wolf bills. Okay, go ahead. So those are the main bills I wanted to touch on. I did want to mention the request to speak system. And if you haven't created an account, if you go ahead and do that before Environmental Day, then it'll make it faster when you come down that day. You can just sign in on the kiosk and you can activate your account. And that after you do that, you can sign in to support or oppose bills, when they're in committee is the easiest way to do it. And even though it's called request to speak, you don't have to speak. You can, and we encourage it, but I think they call it request to speak to try to discourage people from using it. But anyway, wanted to encourage that. And then go ahead to the next one. I think it's just about Environmental Day. Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody Environmental Day is next Wednesday, and the program actually starts at 9:30. We are allowing an hour for registration this year, so it doesn't get jammed up as much. And people have time to look at the tables and everything. I was going to show you one thing on the legislature's website, but I think I can't share my screen at all, so I'm not going to try doing that. And I think the final slide is next, Gary. So I would go ahead and happy to answer your questions. And I think I'll go ahead and stop the recording too.